What is up, and welcome to the Gamecocks Football Captain's Log, where we, as South Carolina Gamecocks fans, break down each week's games and preview the next ones. And by we, I mean that I am joined by the captain himself from Morris Island Charters, P.D. Anabonet. Captain P.D., how are you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I cannot complain except for Carolina football, and I
Yep.
can't complain about that. So, Tennessee game lost 41-20. Really just not a fun watch. We watched it together. That was the only enjoyable part of it.
Yep.
What in the hell happened?
Um, I think the biggest key to why we were so what happened is we got a little too cute with our play calling and going forward on fourth downs and special teams. We I think the mentality with Beamer going into that game was we've got to score a touchdown on every drive in order to win this game, which is not exactly a bad idea when your defense is so terrible. Um, but you also have to keep in mind that we have an offense that can score quickly, and as long as you keep us in the game, we have a chance. If you make mistakes in key situations, you're going to end up down 21 points fast.
Yeah, and it kind of felt like we were going to at least be in the game heading into
Yeah.
halftime. And then you saw the difference between Beamer and Muschamp, who I hated. He would just take the air out the ball for the last 7 minutes of the half and kneel and go into halftime. I generally like Beamer's aggressiveness, but you did see the bad side of that where we had Rattler drop back to pass, made probably his worst pass of the season, gets picked off, returned for a touchdown with like 45, 47 seconds left. So instead of going into halftime down one score, now we're down two scores, and you're like, oh shit. And Tennessee gets the ball coming out for the second half too. And then they immediately scored after grinding us down the first drive of the second half. So, yeah, it did feel like Beamer knew we were going to have to score points to stay in it,
Yeah.
but that's a
Well, we
risk
also,
reward type thing.
previous to that, we went forward on fourth down when we could have easily had a field goal. I think we're down 10-14 at the time.
Yeah.
And that would have put us at 13-14 because we got a great kicker. We
Yeah.
got to use him. Um, the it's just my mentality is like get points where you can take the points when you can get the points. I mean, I do like the aggressive attitude of wanting to go forward on fourth down, but you also have to read the game and see what you've been doing. We haven't. I mean, up to that point, we've not had a lot of success running or throwing the ball. We had the big plays were kind of like Rattler making something out of nothing. But I just if I had a lot of confidence in our offense to that point, might would have gone for him. But just take the points. Keep within striking distance.
Yeah.
Um, it's not the over adjustment for we have to get a touchdown on every drive was I think the what really killed us this game.
Yeah. So I think that there's actually more similarities in this sense between Beamer and Muschamp than I thought previously, in which Muschamp would kneel on the ball and just go into halftime, even if we got the ball at the start of the second quarter,
Yeah.
because he was playing scared. But then Beamer was playing scared too. His was just coming
Yeah.
out and being overly aggressive.
It's a
And
different kind of scared.
yep.
Yeah.
And then we see how it worked out. Is there anything, even if he coached it perfectly, were we realistically in this game? Did it feel like to you?
Actually, yes. I rewatched it again this morning. We did not play as bad as I thought we did on defense, Saturday night. Um, we were still we were still getting in situations where we could end drives. And Tennessee was not as good as us. They're not that good of an offense,
No.
honestly. They just, I mean, Florida showed that that they're very easily stopped. We're just bad at defense too. We're not in great positions to run. We're out of position on defensive line, linebacker, and DB. That's in the times we did get picks is when we had great coverage, and we were in a cloud cover three with DK Smith and DQ Smith.
It's a weird name.
Yeah. Um, and it confused Milton. That's the why he threw the pick. But we're not good at covering. We're getting out of position and linebacker. Several times our linebackers would be bunched up in the middle, and we would not be able to handle the outside, sweeps or anything like that. And then when we get spread out, then to try to handle that, that's when they'd hit us up the middle and get big gashes up the middle. So Tennessee was running a balanced offense, keeping us out of whack. We were not doing the same. We kept running play action and running Spencer out to the right or the left and not working to our strong suit. It just didn't make sense to me. But
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the first half report card here in a second, but a little sneak peek, spoiler alert here. I don't think there's been a week we've done this where the defense being out of position at every level has not been brought up.
yeah.
And it's frustrating to see. And you're right, that it was not the Tennessee of last year at all. It was a very balanced attack, probably more run heavy because Milton does not look that polished as a quarterback. Like you said, he was confused. If you're confused by things we're doing, this might not be the game for you, buddy.
You're probably not making it at the next level.
No. So, but they just beat the hell out of us at the end. And I was just like, man, this felt like it should have been a much closer game, especially when you consider Mario Anderson has got something. I don't know what it is or how much of it he has, but he's got something.
God, if he could ever just get a crease, he's going to take the ball for gains. Like, he is really good, and we just cannot give him any kind of space to work with. And that's really, really disheartening that we've got this great player and can't use him because he just gets creamed at the line of scrimmage every time.
Yeah. So what were your overall takeaways for this game? Because I don't have a lot. I'm going to try to just push it out of my memory.
Yeah. Defensively, we could not we could not stay in, and we could not get in the right position and have any kind of discipline or consistency. And then also in the second half, we just started missing tackles and taking bad angles. That really frustrates me the most. It was like, if you're going to get to the ball and bring the guy down. Don't arm tackle or bullshit like that. You've got to bring the ball down, bring the player down. And then offensively, just really bad play calling. I don't know why we're doing play action or long developing passes when we're backed up on our own goal line. And that's what got us in trouble with that pick six.
Yeah. You're right, because it's like we certainly have more of a running game now than we did to start the year. So play action could, in theory, work, but there's a time and place for play action, and it's not where we've been using it.
It's almost like on offense, we think we've already developed the run game where the defense is going to fall for the play action when we haven't. It's not been there. We've gotten some bursts and shown some, great plays. That 75 yards by Anderson. but there was nothing else. That was it. It doesn't. They didn't fear the run game, so they weren't going to respect the run game and bite up on play action. And then you don't have time to run that play when your quarterback's in his own end zone.
Yeah. Not with our offensive line, especially.
No.
I mean, let's be for real.
Yeah.
So anything else on the Tennessee game? It was sad.
I think I've said my piece on that.
It was sad. We're just going to
Yeah.
flush it. So we're going to do the first half report card. Like I said, obviously not halfway through the season, but it's a bye week. We don't have anything else to talk about. So we're talking about how we've looked so far. 2-3, 1-2 in the SEC. Let's take it group by group. Offense. What do you think of our offense so far up to this point? Uh-oh, we've lost his audio. Sorry about the audio issues. As you know, PD records live from the sea. We just have a fake Zoom background. So he was taking on water. There were big waves. It was a whole thing, but he's safe now. Thank God. So we can get to the report card. 2-3, like I said, overall, 1-2 in the SEC. PD, the offense so far, how have they looked to you?
That is a complicated question. Because at times certain parts look good, and other times, that we come back to the whole consistency thing again.
Yeah.
Overall, I think we have a B as an overall grade for the offense. We've got some really good pieces. We're great at quarterback. Receiver, we have a really good receiver. We're developing some good receivers. If if Juice Wells ever gets back, we can make it even better. Again, offensive line started out really terribly. They have gotten better. They are still not good, but they are serviceable on as far as pass blocking. Still can't run block for anything, but overall, we have a dangerous offense, and I think we're in good shape as far as the offense. We've had one of the better offenses I've seen with us, despite our offensive line.
I think that's a pretty good grade. I mean, Rattler so far, 1,411 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Xavier, 32 catches, 606 yards in 5 games and 3 touchdowns. The fact that he stepped up the way he has with Juice being out to injury, like you said, if you told me we didn't have Juice Wells really at all, honestly, to this point of the season, I would just think, oh, offense must be trash. But we have looked decent. Like you said, the offensive line has improved in terms of pass protection, if for no other reason than I don't think they could have gotten any worse from that Carolina game.
They're at least getting in front of people now for at least a minute.
It's nice. It's incredible to see every now and then. I was like, that's what that's supposed to look like. Who knew?
Yeah.
And there is the hint, despite of the offensive line struggles, there's a hint of a running game.
Yeah.
I mean, these past 2 games, Mario Anderson, 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot better than the 30 carries for 11 yards or whatever we were doing at the beginning. So I think B is pretty good, especially since we seem to be trending upwards, but consistency.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the name of the game with Carolina football since forever. Can we be consistent? No. Why would we ever be consistent? We're consistently inconsistent. That's our thing.
That's the consistency, is inconsistency.
Yep.
If we could ever just get a run game established, we can be balanced and dangerous.
Yeah.
Whether or not that'll ever happen, I don't know. But we've got a lot of freshmen in there playing right now. So maybe it's a couple of years down the road.
Yes. But there's hope. There's hope, at least for future seasons. All right. So a B for offense, I think that's perfectly fair. I know some of the fan base will be upset it wasn't an A plus plus, but they'll be all right. Uh-oh, we've lost the audio again. He's gone underwater again. This is clearly a computer issue. It's gotten into the mainframe. Salt water it causes it to rust. I don't know. We'll take a quick break. Whew, thank God. Disaster averted. We've cleared the poop deck and everything. PD and his audio are back. That was close. I thought we weren't going to get a grade on the Carolina defense, and I just couldn't take that, honestly. But he maneuvered expertly around the iceberg. He got multiple people on the door floating in the ocean, unlike that jerk Kate Winslet. No offense. But okay, Gamecock defense, the grade. What is it, Captain P.D?
Our defense has been like a C minus, in my opinion. We can't cover. We're too small on at linebacker and defensive line. We're especially this week tackling and angles have been an issue. Not bringing not being we were really good the first couple weeks of that actually, and then we're going downhill it seems. Pre-snap alignments and out of position, just like at linebacker and D line have just seem to be getting worse. So it's the assignment we've got talent is the problem. Our ability to be in the right spot at the right time has become an issue, and it seems to be trending downward, in my opinion. I think DBs have actually kind of been a little consistently in the same spot. We're not good at covering the ball, but we're somewhat consistent, getting better consistent wise at DB. So C minus, in my opinion, on defense.
This has definitely been the most disappointing phase of the game for me so far. Like you said, can't stop the run, can't rush the passer. The defensive line doesn't really look like they have a prayer.
Yeah.
The linebackers are a little bit better at playing sideline to sideline compared to last season, but that's because last season we had just very, very slow linebackers.
Yeah.
And so we have a little bit more athleticism there, but it's not enough to move the needle at all. DBs consistently look lost. Although, like you said, I do think there has been improvement there. There have been a couple of bright spots too. I know TJ Sanders, he's got a little bit of an injury issue right now, but he was a grown man in that Georgia game. And that's really what I'm looking for. Like, who are the playmakers? Like, who's going to go step up and make a play? Like, DQ finally got a pick last week, but that doesn't really balance out to all the goofy stuff I've seen him do in coverage. Who's going to step up and just make plays, even in spite of being out of alignment, being put in tough positions? Like, someone's got to do something. And I'm just not going to hold my breath.
I'll say this about the Georgia game. It's not like Georgia was being real inventive as far as what they were doing offensively. They just they were a little cute in the first half, and then they decided, oh, well, we're just going to run it down their throats because they can't stop it. So that is a more easier offense to diagnose pre-snap. So you don't have to think as much. Against Tennessee, they're a little more dynamic, so it's easier to get out of position. But yeah, when we have to think, it's not our strong suit.
No. So B for offense, C minus for defense. Special teams, the infamous third phase of the game.
Special teams is our shining light.
Yes.
We've had a couple plays where it's really more of a coaching problem than it is, the players. But I'm gonna give us an A as far as special teams go.
The Morris Island Lighthouse lit in the sea of darkness that is the rest of
Yeah,
our team. Yeah, that's still that was a story last year. That's still kind of the story this year. Beamer ball is the name of the game. I think that we need to see more out of the return game. I would like to
yeah,
see us break a couple there, and it seems crazy to say about special teams that they can't just be adequate or good, but they have to go out and make plays for us to have a chance to win some of these games. But that
yeah.
kind of is the case. So,
Well, that was the case a lot last year, where we needed big plays out of them to win ball games.
yep.
Blocked punts and trick plays and stuff on fourth downs and field, extra points and stuff. But it hasn't been there as much this year, whether or not teams are ready for it as much, or we are just relying on it too heavily. It seems like Beamer always expects our special teams to be doing something that they shouldn't be, like running
Yeah.
a fake punt 2 times in a row. Uh, not on separate drives. I mean, 2 plays in a row. Like on
Yeah.
fourth down, we throw it to Leggett, get the first down. Then we're going to run up there and try to do a quick snap and run another fake punt with Kroger.
Just that's got to be the first time in the history of the game.
It has to be. I can't imagine anybody else's, unless you're like D3, and just decide that you're going to fuck with people.
Yeah.
But
No, just truly innovative stuff. So yeah, A for special teams to go with the C minus for defense and the B for offense. Now let's talk about, speaking of innovative coaching, the coaches. This has kind of been the theme, talking about the phases of the game. So what would you grade the coaching staff so far?
the coaching staff, I'm going to give a C plus. We've we've done a really good job getting good players. Not so much, same complaint with Muschamp. Not so much developing them, or putting them in good places to succeed.
Yeah.
Offensively, play calling has been really questionable. Um, not We're not playing to our strong suits, and I do give Beamer credit for being aggressive and going for fourth downs, but the timing has always, or not always, but a lot of times been off. In my opinion, we don't. It's not the right time to run that play. Like last week, we ran a fake field, an extra point to go up by 8 when we had just scored. So and then this week, the 2 fake punts, and going forward on fourth down, when you have a really good kicker, and it would put you down by 1 point if he makes that kick, instead of turning the ball over and letting them run down the field and get another touchdown. Just sometimes there's the wrong mentality going on.
On offense, it feels like plays are being called at times without any context to what's
Yeah,
going on. Like,
yeah.
oh,
Screens
we
on the
need a
first
third
play
down
of the
play.
drive. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's third down, so we should just call a third down play, not taking into
yeah.
account, like, okay, it's third and long. There's a minute left in the half, this, that, and the other. We're just like, hey, we just have these things and we're just going to do them.
Third and long on your own 4-yard line. Why
Got
are
to run the
we?
play action.
Yeah, and we also almost got a safety Saturday because fortunately Joyner was able to get out of the end zone. We didn't see the corner blitz coming, but just get the ball out of the end zone. When you're starting in the end zone, in your own end zone, just get the ball out fast
Yeah.
somewhere, not in the end zone.
Yeah. And
It's a question. It's all questionable.
it's like the play calls aren't good and the adjustments aren't
Yeah, there
good
aren't
in
any.
game. It's
Yeah,
like,
especially
all right,
defensively.
yo, God, yeah. It's just like, okay. I mean, we saw it in the Georgia game. Like Georgia clearly went it at halftime, made some adjustments, and we came out with the same game plan we had in the first half.
Yeah,
That's not coaching. That's calling plays.
yeah. And on defense, last week against Mississippi State, they were hitting us deep. Why we didn't adjust for that? We were still playing our safeties really close up to the line of scrimmage. So of course we're gonna give up big plays when they
Yeah.
have two really dynamic receivers. Why are we putting our guys on an island who aren't known for being lockdown DBs? We're putting them on an island to cover these two great receivers, and
Yeah.
guess what happened? We got burned.
I mean, you would think you would do something as a man approaches 500 yards passing. You would be like, okay,
Yeah,
this is, let's rein this in a little bit. But
yeah.
no. All right. As far as the rest of the season's concerned, what are you expecting? Obviously, we'll be here breaking it down week by week since things change on a weekly basis. But what are you looking for out of the team? What are you expecting?
So I would be happy if we just show improvement or an ability to adjust our game plan in game would be a great step in the right direction. Or also just being able to get our guys in the right positions to make plays. I'm not expecting that, I think at this point, we're going to struggle to get bowl eligible. We still got tough games coming. We got Florida, they got Kentucky. I mean, thankfully we play Vanderbilt, but we've lost to them before too. So it's I think it's probably like a 50-50 whether or not we make a bowl game this year.
And to me, that's what's so frustrating. Like going through the schedule, preparing for today. I've seen Florida. We should beat Florida. It's a home game, and we should beat them. That shouldn't even be a question. We have two tough road games after that. Okay. Now, one of those is against a team that just lost their starting quarterback for the year at Texas A&M. Ideally, we haven't had a game where we really played above our heads yet all season. You need to get one of those. Ideally, we could steal that since, again, they got Max Johnson, who was good at LSU, but whatever. I mean, let's be for real. We should steal that one.
Yeah.
Then we finish off with only home games. Kentucky looks beatable this year. The fact that I'm worried about Kentucky when they have a quarterback who is awful and they haven't really looked like they've gotten it together at all is crazy to me.
But Kentucky I think they had a guy with like 250 yards of rushing.
And that's going to be the problem. That's what they're going to do to us.
We're not going to be able to stop them from just like Georgia. We're not going to be able to stop them just cramming it down our throats.
We should put 10 guys in the box. We'll get to that week.
Yeah.
But I mean, it should be being bowl eligible should almost be a guarantee with what we have left and with them being home games.
Yeah.
And with how the teams we're supposed to be playing looking so far this year. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Clemson. Like that should be a win.
Yes. At home, probably going to be a night game, I assume. But Clemson looked real bad.
Yeah. And so the fact that we're like talking like, okay, 50-50, because I agree, it's a coin flip whether or not we're bowl eligible, even with Vandy and Jacksonville State, which is actually a pretty good team for a smaller school, but we should beat both of those programs.
I think they beat an FCS school already this year.
They're good. That's I think that's Rich Rodriguez. They're coaching at Jacksonville State. So that's a good program, but we should beat them and we should beat Vandy and we should honestly win the rest of our home games and manage to steal one of those games, probably against the team without a quarterback. But you can't bet on that because this is kind of what we do. And so you want to be optimistic as a fan and you just get hit over the head with reasons why not to.
Yeah. We need to develop an identity as a team. We don't have any consistent identity of anything right now, other than we have
Yeah.
a great quarterback and one good, receiver. Other than that, they took those two things away from us this week. What do you think the rest of the team's going to do the rest of the year?
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think like those are the things, even outside of being bowl eligible. Can we improve? Can we establish an identity and just get us in the right direction, feeling good about next year? So that's where I'm at. And I want to sound happier. And I am happy, but I do think like we deserve to be able to watch a good football team every Saturday.
We deserve it.
We
It's
have
been
earned
long.
that right. You're out there
Yeah.
every day fighting sharks and sirens and sea witches. You deserve that.
Yes. I've
Damn.
been on this planet for almost 36 years. I can't be happy one year.
Give the man 1 year, okay? All right. I think that did we cover it all? I feel like we covered it all.
I think we covered enough of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
You
is
don't want
like
to
our
cover too much
weekend.
of it because it probably starts to get sad if we cover any more of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, that will do it. If you want to tour with Captain P.D, who, as you saw, navigated all that the sea had to offer this week perfectly fine, lost audio for a little bit, came back. Who cares? He's back. He's here. He's alive. You'd be alive too. It's certainly much calmer when he takes you out, see some dolphins, all that. Check out the show notes or look up Morris Island Charters. It's a fantastic tour. I'm not saying that because he's here. I would say that if he wasn't here. And we'll catch you next week to talk about the Florida game, homecoming. In the meantime, enjoy a week where we are guaranteed not to lose. There you go. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.